Here today I've got a brand new model which is made for 2015 by Kicker for the Marine Series stuff. This amplifier is really awesome. Let me just get that said. This one has some new stuff from last year, just better and improved, and you're going to agree that this thing has some really outstanding cool technology, which is not only good for quality but easy for installation as well. Size, functionality, you name it, this amplifier is really good. Let me just get it said. This amplifier, if it's not a 10, it's got to be a close to 9 in my own mind. From seeing it, using it, hearing them, they are great products. Let me just get that said. This one here, if you're not familiar with the rating, CEA rating, I try to review products that are CEA rated. I try to avoid the cheap stuff that would wish that there was no such thing as CEA rating, because in today's world it's good to know that you're buying something that actually is what it says it is. In the box you will find something like this. This one here is this particular products, and it says certified power and output RMS, so 956. This amplifier, by the way, is rated at 800 watts RMS, because this one here is a 5-channel which is capable of doing either 50 by 4 or 100 by 4 depending on the ohm stability, and of course the sub channel, it can do either 200 or 400 watts by 1, so a total of 800 watts. This amplifier will exceed that, which is always a good thing. It's never good when you buy a product and you get excited to see that thinking that it is something, only to find out that it's not. So in the box, this is what you're going to get: your installation manual, stainless steel hardware, tool to remove the plates, extra sticker for the side, remote base level control, cable to extend it. Here's your main amplifier and the manual. Over here there is a illuminated light, so I'm going to put on my power supply so you all can see what it looks like when that light is on. Get a little closer. I know it's not that exciting, but you can see it's a nice dark blue. There's off, and again on, so that way you know what's going on. Super small chassis. I'm going to get into some of the specifications and show you all the cool stuff which is on the other side of the amplifier right now. Just so you guys can keep up with me, on the front side of this amplifier there's 2 Allen head screws, and thank God they came with this little hex screwdriver, because believe it or not, with all the tools that I own, I couldn't find the one that I needed to actually open it. So when I get in there, that's how I got in there. So there's your little door to access all your settings in here, and you'll notice that there's broken down into 1, 2, 3 different settings. From left to right I'm going to work. Over here you have a light, which is a multi-colored LED protection light, because this amplifier does have some pretty awesome protection circuitry built into it, which is very important because so many things can go wrong, especially in a marine environment over time. Starting off, you have, of course, your gain control. Now on this setup right here for these 2 channels, you have the gain, you have your crossover, which is off or flat, high pass or low pass, and you have the crossover frequency, which goes anywhere from a 10 hertz range up to 500. So let's take a look at these controls. Working from left to right, you'll notice that these crossovers are broken down into 3 segments. You have the front stereo channel, your rear stereo channel, and then your sub channel right here. Starting from the left, you have a protection light, which is multicolored, so it tells you the status of your protection circuitry built into it. You have your gain, you have off, which will be for flat, high pass or low pass, and then you have your frequency crossover for this set. You have anywhere from 10 hertz up to 500, and you have a 10 times or a flat multiplier for this stage right here. This one here, the second stage, I would personally feel that will be better suited for a front stage, because, you know, front stage is really where it's at. And depending on your boat, I mean, some people have their front stage downstairs, you know, in their galley, or where they have their cabin, some are upstairs or up by the helm area where you're partying and hanging outside, fishing, whatever you're doing. So depending on you is how you're going to utilize this flexible amplifier, but for me, that's what I would personally use. Again, you have your gain, you have a little bit more complicated crossover, which is very good, and this is why you have, of course, off for flat, high pass, low pass, and BP, which is band pass. So what that means in English, if you're not totally familiar with how band passes works, that would allow the user to eliminate, say, 0 to let me go with a mid-range. Say you have a full-range set of component speakers and you want to eliminate 50 hertz to 500 hertz. So you could actually set the bandpass filter to eliminate that frequency. So you could have 0 to 500 go through the speakers, then stop at 500 up to 1,000, and then continue on up to 20,000 hertz. And you can limit that frequency, and then you could use either a separate amplifier to do that job for you, or just eliminate it if that set of speakers just isn't capable. It doesn't really work at its optimal, you know, working ability in that particular frequency range, because you're using this other setup to fill in a set of mid-range. Say if you have like an 8-inch, a 6.5-inch, a 4-inch, a tweeter setup like that, and you have a subwoofer. Again, it's all flexible. It's all up to the user. You just keep it simple and have it off, or just use a high-pass filter if you're just using a set of full range, and do the same thing on your rear fill if you're going that route. But if you're going to have a really nice system or a wakeboard system, you might want to really take advantage of this amp 2 setting. I really like this. I would have a lot of fun right here. Now for your sub, again, you have your gain. You have a subsonic crossover, which can really increase the performance of the subwoofer depending on how the box is, if it's vented or if it's sealed, tuned, whatever. This is really good. It goes anywhere from 10 to 80. You have a low pass filter, which starts at 40 at the lowest subsonic, all the way up to 160, and you have the KickEQ from 0 to 18 dB, which is awesome. This amplifier performs. When you turn that knob, believe me, you're going to know you turn that knob on this bad boy. Right now you're looking at the opposite side of the amplifier, the back side, if you will. And over here you see all your barrier strips for all your wires, connections, RCAs, 6 right there, remote bass control. And I'm going to just explain to you really quick because there's a lot to touch on with this amplifier, but I'm going to attempt it. Your left side, you got your sub, mono output, of course. You have your power, ground, remote. You have amp 1, 2, and subwoofer RCA preamp input. Moving along, you have your remote bass control, which would be for your cable. Plug that right in. And then you have your little bass knob, wherever you mount that little guy. Cool little feature. Now here's a really cool feature, auto turn on. This thing will actually work either by voltage, DC, or audio. So if you're using a line level converter and an RCA, or if it just gets line voltage, it's going to turn on in any case. And it also has a soft turn on, so that way you won't get that annoying pop. If you've ever had that in an amplifier, it can be a really super annoying. This one's got that soft turn on. Down here you have your input level. You can have high or low. You have a fader, sub input, which you can again adjust. And then you have over here, you have your front audio outputs and your rear channel, bridged or stereo respectively, however you're going to have it working out. As for your output ratings, on a 5-channel situation, because that's what I'm going to presume most folks are going to use this thing for, this amplifier will do at 4 ohms 50 by 4 on your front and rears. At 2 ohms you'll get 100 by 4. Your sub channel, you'll get 200 watts RMS, and that's at 4 ohms. If you're using a double voice coil 4 ohm or just a straight up 2 ohm woofer, you're going to get 400 watts out of that bad boy. So you got a total of 800 watts max out of this guy. Remote bass control, which I've already shown you. You got variable bass boost from 0 to 18 at 40 hertz, the subsonic, which I talked about, the soft turn on. This amplifier can work in a configuration anywhere from 5 to 2 channels, and anywhere in between, so however you want it to work. You also have a preamp RCA output, so you could daisy chain this into multiple amplifiers. Balanced differential inputs for the best possible noise rejection, which is great because if you're mounting this in a galley or in a V-berth and you're near, microwaves, refrigerators, air conditioner, stuff like that, that can be very, very important. Double-sided fiberglass circuit board, so not just one side, both sides treated IC circuit boards, which is very good for reliability. You have the angled custom tool connectors, which you can see clearly right here. You got variable low-pass filter, which I already touched on, a high-pass filter. Frequency response on this amplifier is 10 hertz at the lowest, all the way up to 20,000 hertz. And this is the CEA 2006 compliant amplifier, as I taught you. This amplifier does what it says it does, plus some. This particular amplifier with a certificate came out at 950 watts plus change, so that's good. It's good to know you're getting what you're paying for. 4-gauge power and ground input is required. Of course, if you go on a farther length, you might want to use, Ohm's law, break it down, and adjust your wire gauges accordingly. So if you have a really big boat, like some behemoth 50-foot azimuth or some nonsense, you might want to run a 2-gauge and step it down with a distribution block and run a true 4-gauge on either side. Of course, use real wire that's rated, because this amplifier is only going to perform as well as how you connect it. I mean, you could have the best amplifier, is no better being the best and wired improperly as it is to have a properly wired, poorer rated amplifier. So if you put the two together, there's no stopping you. This amplifier is going to really please you. I love this amplifier. I love the technology. I love the size. I love the style. I love all the functionality, the flexibility. I love it. So if you're looking for a good 5-channel marine amplifier, give this one a good look, because I think it's a real winner. It's a Kicker KXM800.5.